Today on r/AskReddit, which job is a lot less fun than most people expect? Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed fully realized games. You are playing the same level of a game over and over, seeing if there are bugs. I had a friend who got a job as a tester at Activision. They had him testing interactive Disney storybooks. Also, you are probably not going to test the next GTA, but something like Barbie's Super Happy Fun Land 3, or some other game aimed for kids 8 and under. And you'll have to play it for 8 to 10 hours a day. Every day. Archaeologist. Did it during my 20s and that was more than enough. Long, hot days. Living out of cheap motels on shite pay. And you typically find nothing more than some pieces of glass and broken pottery. Every once in a blue moon you find something cool. But those items generally end up getting stored away in a box full of other artifacts never to be seen again. After reading through this thread for 20 minutes, I've concluded that every job sucks. I think doing anything for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week would probably get tiresome. Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them. But the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul. I have a really strong stomach and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field, but thought, oh, I volunteered at animal shelters. I know what animal stink smells like. Nope. Not even close. Everyone wants to break shite with a sledgehammer. Everyone is tired of lifting that sledgehammer by 5 swings. Nobody wants to load the broken stuff into bags or a wheelbarrow and take it to the dumpster. I did a 2-week demo job years ago where I had to jackhammer 75 pounds at least a concrete slab and grind rubber into pieces. I'm in good shape, and that job knocked me up. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. Honestly, every job that lots and lots of people really want to do sucks. Mostly due to supply and demand. You're gonna be treated like shite. And if you complain, you're gonna be fired because you're inherently replaceable. Because there's thousands of people that would love to do your job for even less money than you are making. Lawyer. No, it isn't like they show on TV. Hey. Finally, cases before the judge. Crap, the other party didn't show up. Next date that judge has given is 3 months away. Edit. Need to say a few things. 1. Thank you fellow redditors for the gold and silver. Now I can finally see what r/lounge is all about. Now, little bit about me. I'm from India and have moved on from litigation to academia. Personally, it was the right decision for me, as now I'm way less stressed and can work on things that intellectually stimulate me. Having said that, I need to clarify that law is still a very rewarding profession. There is something in it for everyone. For those who want to change the world as well as for those who want to make money. It just demands too much of your time, plus the results of all your efforts are not immediate and that can get stressful. Also, yes, that song "Don't Be a Lawyer" by Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is pretty spot on. And that's just litigation. As Tom Hanks once said, it's like doing homework for a living. Either for the pedantic types, which it shouldn't surprise me. Being lawyers and all. It was an interview many years ago, and he was asked what career he would hate to have if wasn't an actor. It stuck with me because it rang true. I'm a marine biologist. I spent the last week measuring defrosted fish heads. The sea was angry that day. Hiking and backpacking guide worrying for others the whole time takes the fun away. Just get a waiver form signed and have some fun. I have seen this question before, and then it was Zookeeper at the top comment too. Nice. Anyways, there's this making of Frozen 2 mini doku. Most animators work weeks for a minute of animation of one character, if not less. At one point they decided to leave out a piece that one person had solely been working on. Must be crappy to be part of the credits without being able to say this is my part. I couldn't believe it. It was even crazier to me when Sterling K. Brown recorded an entire song and it got scrapped. It's insane how much ends up on the cutting room floor for a movie to be just right. I was so psyched for the animator that did that in scene 4 Into the Unknown. Though. She killed it. Baker. Coming into work at 3/4 am, so you can have a 6 am baked goods is miserable. 00000HY0 UMU Street L0 VETHWAUSMLLWHNG0H0 me. Nope, I go home smelling like burnt oven. Your days are spent listening to 50 different people play 50 different riffs poorly simultaneously. As if they're all putting on their own concert. A whole lot of Iron Man and Stairway. Gamma Master at an escape room. It's the same repetitive script. Resetting the same stuff. Giving clues and hints about the same things. The patrons are often competitive families who argue. Obnoxious impatient 13-year-olds. College students who have been drinking. Idiots who break shite and touch shite that I specifically told them not to. They never remember your initial instructions. If something gets broken during one group, you have to hurry and fix it before the next group. First time I went to an escape room. The guy had an empty booking after us, so we just hung out and chatted for a bit. He told us all about how he researched other escape rooms and got professionals to help him build a story that allowed for fun puzzles too. He told us about how he and his wife went all over the place and on eBay looking for cool props, decorations and scenery to make the place how they wanted it. He was really excited when he talked about it and said he's looking forward to opening another. The day-to-day might be boring, but the guy 100% loved making the thing in the first place. Working at a Charles Dickens fair is interesting, but not incredibly fun. It is hard to stay in character. And people get so mad when they see the Alice in Wonderland area. Yeah. We know it's not Charles Dickens. But we can't have a kids play area in the world of Oliver Twist. Okay. Lol, the kids play area is a coal factory. Being a writer. I always thought it was my absolute dream job. But the only job I could get after college was working in a content mill as a blog writer. I used to work 70-hour weeks staring at the computer in a basement of an old bank writing bullshit articles about the dangers of mold, fence cleaning, and why you need a commercial awning, and the dream turned into a nightmare. While I still write occasionally, I'm now working as a communications person, so it is a bit less heavy. Video game testing. I've been working in the game industry for 6 years now, and teaching for 2. Testing video games is thought to be just you just play games all day. Lol. But it's actually very specific and arduous. First of all, there are a bunch of testing methodologies such as load/soak testing, white room testing, version testing to name a few. But the most common one is functionality testing. Functionality testing is so, if I walk into that corner with a shotgun in my inventory, I can clip through the wall. But if I have my M16 in my inventory, I don't clip through. How do you go about finding out something like your example where, if you walk through a wall with a certain item you clip? Is it just insane copious trial and error? It seems like such an insanely tough job. And then since you're only one guy, within a week someone finds some game breaking glitch fairly early on. It just seems like a tough cycle. Seeing all this makes me feel like I don't want to have a job, but instead live off fish, as in catching and eating. It's my favorite thing to do. Not the job of a fisherman. I hear that'll make your poop very oily and stinky. Accountant. Everyone thinks it's all fun and number crunching. But the constant stream of women throwing their panties and wanting to bear your children is honestly exhausting. My mother's an accountant. From what I can tell, it's a lot of staring at large numbers and making sure they're all correct and going through vast amounts of spreadsheets. Then discovering you made a mistake somewhere on the spreadsheet that was for January. So now you have to redo January, February, March, April and May. Meanwhile, your deadline for June is in 3 hours. Acting. All the ones we see on TV and movies are the 0.0001% of incredibly lucky and talented people who manage to thrive in a hostile and overcrowded industry. And even when you are working, The actual job itself is 99% sitting on apple crate in hot macupe waiting for some grips to move a lighting fixture. Then you say 3 lines over and over again for an hour. And then you rap. That was my experience as an extra. I waited all day for something to do and was given a role as a doorman, but neglected to tell me anything else. Luckily I thought to open the door and it made it on screen, but that was it. I do closed captioning. While I joke that yes, I get paid to watch TV, it's actually very tedious. And if you don't actually enjoy the programming, you're being forced to watch something you don't care for. Or worse. If it's something I do enjoy like a long form drama, we usually chop those up into 15-minute increments and split between everyone, so I only see chunks, and not always even in order. It actually ruins the show for me. Edit. Wow. For a thread about my job not being fun. Did not expect the response for interested parties. To summarize the questions. Anyone who knows proper grammar and spelling can pretty much work the technical side of closed captioning. For live writing you have to be a stenographer, which you need to train for with an associate's degree. If you're looking to do side transcription work, I'd recommend ordering a foot pedal online and looking into freelance sites such as Rev and Upwork. They're notoriously overworked, especially during crunch time. The field is highly competitive too. So I imagine, if you have the slightest issue with work being your entire life, it won't be hard to replace you. Voice acting is also pretty brutal. Voice actors generally don't get paid very well, and they're straining their throats, or whatever. Not only that, but video game developers are notorious for not getting paid what they deserve. Especially relative to other peers in the CS world. I mean, a lot of these guys, especially those who make their own game engines and stuff, are basically creating miniature worlds with realistic physics and graphics all from scratch. Obviously a lot of big AAA titles have huge teams working on them, but some only have around 20 people. Being a chef. All the flair and awesomeness they show on Vice and Netflix is far from what actually happens in the industry. It's not all fancy plates and tattooed / cool haired guys doing their thing. It's a drug infested. Edit. Thank you for the love and good reads, people. I have some insane stories I'll share someday. For those asking, I'm a sous chef at Michelin level restaurants nowadays. Not a chef de cuisine yet. Edit 2. You guys are insane. I once had a server approach my table and asked where I work because he noticed the scars on my arm. Strong. Librarian. It's not all books and being quiet. There are also spreadsheets. I'm a librarian too. I won't say it's not fun, but it's definitely not what people think it is. If we sat around reading books all day, no books would be checked in or checked out. No books would be shelved. No information would be answered. No computer help. No programming would take place. Etc. I love my job and am inspired by it. But it's a lot more work than people think. Flight attendant. 1. You are on call on reserve forever. Have a terrible schedule. Have no life. And make no money for 5 to 10 years. 2. While you work for peanuts. You can't afford to use your flight benefits in any substantial way. 3. Then, when you finally get a chance to use your benefits for a trip, you have to fly standby, which means you aren't guaranteed to get on the flight you want. 4. Then, if you do make it out of town, you better have like a week off so you can make damn sure you're back in your base city in time for your next work shift. 5. Did I mention there is an active US legislation, Railway Labor Act, that allows airlines to exploit so you don't get paid for certain work hours that you actually need to be working? For example, FARs don't get paid for boarding or any time the plane is at the gate. Worst job ever. Edit. Typus and clarity. Well, I'm a scientist. I don't know if people usually think of that career as fun, but I think people think it's a lot more eureka. And a lot less this data has to be manually processed for 600 hours before I can analyze it. Yup. As a bioscientist, it's never really eureka. Is 6 coffees too many? And a large part of my day is spent just doing tasks I need to do to keep my work running, i.e. making buffers sorting fly stocks, splitting cells, cleaning things, etc. And yet I miss my lab. Park ranger. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. But a lot of days it was less talk about cool animals while wearing your ranger hat, and more the toilets are overflowing again. Go clean the septic tank filter and stir the tank with a shovel. With a little bit of hay there's a methed out guy down by the bridge. Can you convince him to leave without killing anyone? All for the low price of $26k/year with a college degree. Edit so more people will see this. I hate the idea that this comment might dissuade anybody from becoming a park ranger. These jobs are so varied. And I just happen to work for an underfunded agency with too few staff. Honestly, I still loved this job and would have kept doing it forever if a higher paying outdoor environmental job hadn't pretty much fallen into my lap. Being a park ranger taught me so much. And most importantly, I got trained as a wildland firefighter, which is still my favorite part of my job. If you have always dreamed of being a park ranger, please go for it. Accounting isn't the adrenaline rush that most people think it is. This made me laugh out loud. But the glamour, the perks, the respect. Event planner. It's hell on earth when you have a million things going on and you're waiting for everything to come together. Programming. Please help me. I need a hug. Why did I need to be such a nerdy ducking kid when I was younger? Yeah. Not what I thought. Lots of inflated egos and disorganization. It's scary how ducked up software looks when you see the code that's making it work. I'm amazed half of it even works sometimes. Not a specific job, but traveling for work. I'm in tech and a lot of people starting out talk about wanting to go to customer sites and get out in the field. I love to travel for fun, but it's hard to fit in the fun stuff when you have presentations and stuff to worry about, and a lot of times your customers aren't in the fun cities anyway. I also think I prefer the stability and day-to-day schedule of traveling less frequently. Working at an amusement park. It's not amusing. Barnes and Noble. Your job has literally nothing to do with books and it obviously attracts a lot of that type. Myself included. Honest most freelancer. Any job/every job. Until you've done it. You only have an idealized version of it in your head. A pediatric nurse. Being a nurse for children and adolescents. Everyone in nursing school talks about how much they want to work with kids. The reality is that a pediatric nurse sees more cases of abuse and neglect than any other specialty. Doesn't matter where you are in a pediatric hospital. It's the thing you see most. I've seen so many DCS Department of Child Services caseworkers that I've gotten to know some of them and became acquaintances with them. Sure, working with children and adolescents is great. But people don't think about the most essential piece of that puzzle, which is their families. It doesn't matter how good of care you give to those kids. If you don't loop the parents into that care, you may as well just not be doing anything for them. I feel you. I work in pediatrics. I'm one step away from oncology. So I know more about cancer than I'd ever like to know. It can be soul crushing at times. Pilot. You could lose your career with a single illness or injury. Which could be happening to me soon. Not sure of the exact details, but I have a friend who's done tons of hours and has been planning on being a pilot his whole life basically, and was just recently diagnosed with epilepsy at age 20. I can't recall if has ever actually had an episode/seizure. I totally understand why he shouldn't fly anymore. But still unfortunate to lose something you're passionate about. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more dank curated content from AskReddit.